Record. Hello and welcome to this second and final first look exploring session looking at Love's Victory by Mary Wroth. This is a rejoining of the text around Act 3, Scene 3. Depending on the edition, you might have it down as Act 3, Scene 4, with the Cupid and Venus recapping their general plan of action for this play, which is generally to pepper everyone with love darts and jealousy darts and just generally pepper everyone with love, because love creates chaos and excitement and energy and things, and to find out how that's going to affect all our various shepherds and shepherdesses and nymphs and whoever they all are, which is not always wholly clear. We will continue reading and find out how it's all going to end. And will true love? Is there such thing as true love? Does true love? Is it an illusion? Is it a choice? Is it the gods that choose for us, or do we have any agency of our own? What is this play saying? We shall see. Reading today, Venus and Simeana is.
Briony, Sparrow, actor in Lincolnshire.
Reading Rustic, Arcas and Forester is.
Alan in Suffolk.
Reading Lissius and Priests is.
Lois in London.
Reading Philisses and Lacon is.
Lynn, Northwestern United States.
Reading Cupid, Dalina and Silvesta is.
Hi, I'm Greg. I just can't do Cupid as well as our in-house Cupid. However, I am looking forward to playing the party planner today.
And reading Musella, Fillis and Musella's mother, hopefully they won't talk at the same time, is.
Aliki in Northwest England.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I'll be reading Climeana, Shepherds and Shepherdesses, as well as stage directions and generally keeping everything moving forward. We don't quite have enough readers, so there will definitely be occasions where people are talking to themselves, but hopefully it won't get too bogged down in that kind of detail. But without further ado, we're going to dive into Act 3, Scene 3 or 4, depending on your edition. And we have the entrance of Venus and Cupid kicks us off.
Is not this pretty? Who doth free remain of all this flock that waits not in our train? Will you have yet more sorrow, yet more woe? Shall I another bitter arrow throw? Speak if you will, my hand now knows the way to make all hearts your sacred power obey.
'Tis pretty, but 'tis not enough. Some are too slightly wounded, they had greater share in scorning us. Lissius too soon is blessed, and with too little pain hath got his rest. Scarce had he learned to sigh before he gained, nor shed a tear ere he his hopes obtained. This easy winning breeds us more neglect, without pain few to love's joys respect. Then are the sweetest purchased with felt grief. Floods of woe, sweet looks give full relief. A world of sorrow is eased with one smile, and heart wounds cured when kind words rule the while. That foregone wailings in forgotten thought shall wasted lie disdained, once dearly bought. One gentle speech more heals a bleeding wound than bawlings of pleasure, if from other ground. Strike then to favour him, and let him gain his love and bliss by love's sweet pleasing pain.
That shall be done. Nor had he this delight bestowed, but for his greater harm and spite. You shall, before this act be ended, see he doth sufficiently taste misery. 'Tis far more grief from joy to be downthrown than joy to be advancing to pleasure's throne.
Let me see that, and I contented am. Such gracious favour would but get thy shame.
He and others yet shall taste such distress as shall lay waste all their hopes, their joys and lives. By such loss our glory thrives. Fear not that then all hearts must yield when our forces come to field.
And they exit. So, yes, Cupid and Venus continuing on their path of spreading happiness and light through the world of mortals. I mean, I have to say, I have always enjoyed the Venus and Cupid bits. They turn up, they've got great energy, they know what they want, and they sort of get on with it. And it's very enjoyable. Thoughts from the room as we sort of click back into the text. Any additional thoughts?
Yeah, I love Cupid in that scene. You can see the evil. He's sort of planning there.
It has to be said, Cupid very rarely comes out well in any of these plays. It's such a different view of Cupid from our sort of very, tidied, homogenized, modern greetings card view. They're always quite dark. Any additional thoughts? Otherwise, we'll dive into Act 4 and get into some action. Okay. Act 4, Scene 1. Enter Musella.
This is the place Silvesta pointed me to meet my joy, my sole felicity. And here Philisses is. Ah me, this shows the wounds by love given are no childish blows.
And Philisses has entered at some point, and so Musella hides.
You blessed woods into whose secret guard I venture, dare my inward woundings smart, and to you dare impart the crosses hard which harbor in my love-destroyed heart. To you, and but to you, I durst disclose these flames, these pains, these griefs which I do find. For your true heart so constant are to those who trust in you, as you'll not change your mind. No echo, shrills shall your dear secrets utter, or wrong your silence with a babbling tongue, nor will your springs against your private mutter, or think that counsel keeping is a wrong. Then, since woods, springs, echoes, and all are true, my long-hid love I'll tell, show, and write in you. Alas, Musella, cruel shepherdess, who takes no pity on me in distress. For all my passions, plaints, and all my woes, I am so far from gain as outward shows. I never had could feed least hope to spring, or any whilst least comfort to me bring. Yet pardon me, dear mistress of my soul, I do recall my words, my tongue control, for wronging thee. Accuse my poor starved heart, which withered is with love's all-killing smart, since truly I must say I cannot blame thee, nor accuse thee with a scorner's name. No, alas, my pains thou dost not know, nor dare I, wretch, my torments to thee show. Why did I wrong thee then, who all must serve, and happy he by thee thought to deserve? Who heaven hath framed to make us here below deserve? They strive all worth in thee to show. And doth these valleys and these meads disgrace, when thou art present with excelling grace? And now, who at this time sorry. He talks too much. That's all there is to it.
Yes. This is what Philisses does to people.
When thou art present with excelling grace, and now, who at this time does show more bright than fair Aurora when she lends best light, oh, that I might but now have heart to speak and say I love, though after heart did break.
I fain would comfort him, and yet I know not if from me 'twill comfort be or no, since causeless jealousy hath so possessed his heart, as no belief of me can rest. But why stay I? I came to give relief. Should I then doubt? No. I may ease his grief, and help will seek. None should one's good neglect, much more his bliss. None should one's good neglect, much more his bliss, who for me joys reject.
And Musella comes forward to Philisses.
How now, Philisses? Why do you thus grieve? Speak, is there none that can your pains relieve?
Yes, fair Musella, but such is my state. Relief comes from her who can but hate. What hope may I, wretch, have least good to move, when scorn doth grow for me, for others' love?
But are you sure she doth your love disdain? It may be for your love she feels like pain.
Like pain, for me. I could not crave so much. I wish no more but that love might her touch, and that she might discern by love to know that kind respect is fit for her to show.
Sure this she knows.
Prove it, and I may live.
Tell me who 'tis you love, and I will give my word I'll win her, if she may be won.
Ah me, that doubt in me made me first run into this labyrinth of woe and care, which makes me thus to wed mine own despair.
But have you made it known to her you love, that for her scorn you do these torments prove?
Yes, now I have, and yet to ease some pain I'll plainly speak, though my own end I gain, and so to end were to me a bliss. It is for your dear sake my sorrow is. It may be you will hate me, yet I have by this some ease, though with it come my grave. Yet, dear Musella, since for you I pine and suffer welcome death, let favor shine thus far, that though my love you do neglect, yet sorry be I died. With this respect I shall be satisfied and so content as I shall deem my life so lost well spent.
Sorry. Alas, Philisses, can it be? But I should grieve and mourn, nay, die for thee. Yet tell me, why did you thus hide your love and suffer wrong conceits thus much to move? Now 'tis almost too late your wish to gain, yet you shall pity for your love obtain.
Pity, when helpless, 'tis endless given. Am I to this unhappy bondage driven? Yet truly pity, and 'twill be some ease unto my grief, though all things else displease. But do not yet, unless you can effect, for forced pity's worse than is neglect, and to be pitied but for pity's sake, and not for love, did never pity take.
Well then, I love you, and so ever must, though time and fortune should be still unjust. For we may love, and both may constant prove, but not enjoy unless ordained above.
Dost thou love me? O dear Musella, say, and say it still, to kill my late dismay.
More than myself, or love myself for thee, the better much. But wilt thou love like me?
My only life, here do I vow to die when I prove false or show unconstancy.
All true content may this to both procure.
And when I break, may I all shame endure.
Nor doubt you me, nor my true heart mistrust, for die I will before I prove unjust. But here comes Rustic, whose encumbered brain with love and jealousy must our loss gain. For since he hopes, nay, says, that I am his, I cannot absent be, but he'll me miss. But when that is, let day no longer shine, or I have life, if live not truly thine. But now, lest that our love should be found out, let's seek all means to keep him from this doubt, and let none know it but your sister dear, whose company I keep. So hold all clear, then let him watch and keep what he can get. His plots must want their force our joys to let. I'll step aside a while till you do meet. This welcome man, whose absence were more sweet, for though that he, poor thing, can little find, yet I shall blush with knowing my own mind. Fear and desire still to keep it hid will blushing show it when 'tis most forbid.
None can have power against a powerful love, nor keep the blood, but in the cheeks will move. But not for fear or care it there doth show, but kind desire makes you blushing know that joy takes place, and in your face doth climb with leaping heart like lambkins in the prime. But, sweet Musella, since you will away, take now my heart, and let yours in me stay.
Exit Musella.
Could I express the joy I now conceive, I were unworthy such bliss to receive. But so much I am thine, as life and joy are in thy hands to nurse, or to destroy.
And the rustic, by this point, having been said, entering about 70 lines earlier, actually now is officially entered.
Oh, now, Rustic, whither away so fast?
To seek Musella.
Now that labor's past, see where she comes.
And indeed, Musella re-enters, sorry.
Rustic, where were you? I sought, but could not find you.
Is that true? Faith, I was but the truth to you to tell, marking some cattle, and asleep I fell.
And I was seeking of a long lost lamb. Now I found, even as along you came.
I'm glad you found it.
Truly, so am I.
Now let us go to find our company.
See where some be.
That's actually, well,
Oh,
see
sorry,
where some be, that's actually me.
Yes, it is.
And then you're next.
It seems too soon, alas, that love despised should come to such a pass.
Enter Lissius and Simeana. They're both singing, but I'll just ask Simeana to do the song, please. You don't have to sing, by the way. Ooh.
Sorry, I lost the script for a second. I have it. Love's beginning like the spring gives delight in sweetness flowing, and ever-pleasant flourishing, pride in her brave colours showing. But love ending is at last, like the storms of winter's blast.
Lissius, methinks you are grown sad of late, and privately with your own thoughts debate. I hope you're not fallen in love. That boy cannot, I trust, your settled heart enjoy.
'Tis well, you may be merry at my fall. Rejoice, nay, do, for I can lose but all.
And so too much.
And exit Simeana.
Or some strange error is.
Learn you it out.
We'll leave you.
Exeunt Philisses and Rustic, and we'll pause there. This is a long scene, a very long scene, and it seems that at his christening, Rustic had a short-sighted clergyman, and that's his given name, as far as I can tell. And his hello, Rustic. That's their name. It's like we've got a forester in here who should have a name, doesn't have a name. That's just what people call you. So yeah. Not sure really what the Rustic is doing here. But okay. Well, we've had Musella and Philisses have spoken to each other. They actually talked to each other, and they went, "Hi, I'm in love with you." Oh, yeah, you were nearly too late. But hey, it's cool. And there were some nice lines in there I quite liked. It may be you will hate me. It's such a teenagery line, that, isn't it? I do want to say, just in case you hated me. And they have a proper, sensible, relatively grown-up conversation about feelings. There's some nice stuff in there. And then Rustic comes in and words are said. Thoughts in the room. Someone has thoughts. Lynn.
About the naming, I was thinking yesterday that maybe Forester and Rustic aren't as outlier-y as we perceive them to be, because the sort of Latin words implied by the other names were more transparent to the original audience. So Silvius or Silvester is kind of a stereotypical name for a shepherd, kind of like Fido for a dog. The fact that a shepherdess character is named Silvestra would be much more transparently generic than it is to us. So maybe Forester and Rustic aren't as weird as we perceive them to be, because the other names also have common noun meanings that are just lost to us.
Lois.
Yeah, I mean, names actually involving Silv are probably foresters, because Silva is woods, isn't it? So Silvio is a forester and Silvesta is a forestress, or someone who, well, she follows Diana, who is the goddess of the woods and hunting. Names beginning with Phil, I think often just, I mean, Philo is obviously love, and Astrophil, you know, Philip Sidney's name for himself is the lover of the stars, and so on. And Stella was the star. I think, a lot of these names work like that. I mean, they have Musella, though, could conceivably be Wroth's name for herself if she's thinking about muses.
Little muse.
Yeah. Whereas something like Rustic is very much the kind of thing you put in the script for this is the kind of character that this actor can play, rather than this is the name that we actually refer to them on stage. I mean, it is quite bizarre, actually, that no name is given.
Yeah, it'd be odd to be, hi, low comedian. Yes.
Yes. Hello, comic servant person. Okay, let's go on with the scene then. Everybody's cleared the stage apart from Musella and Lissius.
I'll know this. Come, Lissius, tell me, whence proceeds this grief? Discover it, and you may find relief.
No, I'll go seek Philisses. He, I'm sure, will comfort me, who doth the like endure. Yet, fair Musella, do thus much for me. Tell fierce Simeana she hath murdered me, and gain but this, that she my end will bless with some, though smallest grief, for my distress, and that she will but grace my hapless doom. This is a small request, and 'tis my last, who to obey to my sad end will haste.
Nay, Lissius, hear me. Tell me ere you go, what sudden matter moves you in this woe?
Alas, 'tis love of one I did disdain, and now I seek the like neglect I gain. Yet at the first she answered me with love, which made my passions more increase and move. But now she scorns me, and tells me I give my love in equal sort to all, and drive my sighs and plaints but from an outward part of feigned love, and never from my heart. And when on knees I do her favor crave, she bids me seek Climeana, where I gave as many vows as then to her I did, and thereupon her sight did me forbid, vowing that if I did more move or speak of love, she would not only speeches break, but evermore her sight, and would be blind rather than in my sight herself to find. This is the cause, and this must be my end, which my sad days to saddest night must lend.
When grew this change?
Alas, too late, today, and yet too early for my joy's decay.
Have no ill tongues reported false of you?
I know not, but my heart was ever true, since first I vowed, and that my death shall tell, which is my last hope that will please her well.
Soft, I will speak with her and know her mind, and why on such a sudden she's unkind. Then truly bring you answer what she says. Till then be quiet, for it can no praise bring to your death that you shall wailing die without so just a cause as to know why.
But will Musella do this much for me? Shall I not of all friends forsaken be?
Never of me. And here a while but stay, and I shall comfort bring your care to allay.
Oh,
and
no.
exit Musella.
Oh, no. I know she will not pity me. Unfortunate and hapless must I be. And now, thou powerful conquering God of love, I do but thus much crave. Thy forces prove and cast all storms of thy just caused rage upon me, vassal, and no heat assuage of greatest fury, since I do deserve no favor or least grace, but here to starve, fed with sharp tortures. Let me live to see my former sin, for so much slighting thee. Death, yet more welcome. Were it not so meet, I oft should die, who knew not sour from sweet. Simeana comes. Ah, most ungrateful maid, who answers love as one would welcome death. The nearer it comes, the more flies, stayed ne'er but by limbs that tire, wanting breath. So haste she still from me, whose love is fixed in purest flames, without all baseness mixed.
And we can infer a stage direction of enter Simeana and Musella at some point during the last 6 lines.
Simeana, this can be no ground to take so great dislike upon one man's report, and what may well prove false, as thus to make an honest loving heart die in this sort. Say that he useth others well, and smiles on them, who it may be love of him beguiles, or that he used Climeana well. Well, what then? All, poor soul, she gets, who did contemn and rail at her.
'Tis true, before my face he did revile her with words of disgrace. My back but turned, she was his only joy, his best, his dearest life, and soon destroy himself he would if she not loved him still, and just what he had vowed his heart did kill. For my disdain he shameless did protest, within 1 hour to her caused his unrest. Can I bear this, who lived so long disdained, now to be mocked? I thought I love had gained, and not more scorn, but since thus much I find, I'm glad joy sank no deeper in my mind.
Fie, fie, Simeana, leave these doubts. Too far already grown to breed so great a jar. 'Twas but his duty kindly once to speak to her, who for him would her poor heart break. Would you not think it sin quite to undo a silly maid with scorn? Let these go. Think you, if I did love, and that I saw he used more well, would I my love withdraw from him for that? Oh, no great cause may be to move good looks. Mistrust not, but be free from this vile humour of base jealousy, which breedeth nothing but self-misery. For this believe, while you yourself are just, you cannot any way your love mistrust. Let him discourse and smile, and what of this? Is he the likelier in his faith to miss? No, never fear him. 'Tis private friendship that our trust beguiles, and therefore let not Arcas, flattering skill, have power in your breast his deserts to spill. Lissius is worthy, and a worthy love he bears to you. Then these conceits remove.
Arcas did see them sit too privately, and kiss, and then embrace,
Well, if he did.
and in her ear discourse familiarly, when they did think it should from me be hid.
Lord, how one may conjecture, if one fear all things they doubt to be the same they fear, though private. Must it follow he's untrue? Or that they whispered must be kept from you? Fine, leave these follies, and begin to think you have your love brought to death's river brink. Repent, you have him wronged, and now cherish the dying lad, who else soon will perish. Go, ask him pardon.
Pardon why? That he, the more may brag, he twice hath cozened me.
He is past all bragging. Mend your fault, and sorry be you have his torment wrought. See where he lies. truest sign of woe. Go, haste and save him. Love's wings are not slow.
O dearest Lissius, look but up and speak to me most wretched, whose heart now must break, with self-accursing of accursed wrong, which rashly bred did win belief too strong. Ah, cast but up thine eyes, see my true tears, and view but her who now all torment bears. Do but look up, and thou shalt see me die for having wronged thee with my jealousy.
To see thee die, alas, I die for thee. What pleasure can thy death then bring to me? Yet if I, love, make you say this, poor I shall much more happy and more blessed die.
Nay, let me end before thy end I see. Alas, I love you, and 'twas love in me bred this great ill which jealousy confused. I brought your harm, and my best love abused.
Oh, joy, which now doth swell as much as grief, and pleasing yet doth make me seek relief. Am I myself? No, I am only joy. Not Lissius, grief did lately him destroy. I am Simeana's love, her slave revived, late hopeless dead, now have despair survived.
All care now past, let joy in triumph sit. This for such lovers ever is most fit. This doth become that happy loving pair who seek to nurse the joys that kill all care. Let those fall out, mistrust, wrangle, and jar, who love for fashion, not for love. But war not you, the couple Cupid best doth love, whose troubled hearts his Godhead's self did move.
Musella, you have turned this cloudy day to sweet and pleasant light. Nor can I say so much as in my heart this kindness breeds, for now delight all form and speech exceeds. But let us happy now, unhappy be when in us least unthankfulness you see.
Let me myself, nay, my dear Lissius, leave, when I in service or in faith deceive. Musella, sole restorer of this joy, and jealousy anew strive to destroy our loves and hopes, if I forgetful be of this increase of lost felicity. But now, my Lissius, have you me forgiven, my last offence by love and fearing driven?
Ah, thou lov'st me, 'tis enough, and now enjoy all rest, nor bring new doubts to cross our joy. I all forget, and only hold thee dear, and from thee all faults past my love doth clear.
So, let us ever doubtless live and love, and no mistrust in least sort our hearts move.
No doubt of thee shall ever stir in mine.
Nor breed in me so wholly I am thine.
Happy this time, and blessed be your loves, and most accursed they that other moves. Live both contented, and live still as one, never divided till your lives be done.
And enter Fillis, Dalina, Philisses, Arcas, Climeana, and Rustic. There may be clashes.
Here comes the flock.
We're all here now.
'Tis true, we are all here, and one too much by you.
Here be our fellows. Now let us begin some pretty pastime. Pleasure sport to win. Sweetest Musella, what thinks you best?
That whereunto your fancy is addressed.
Oh, mine is to riddling.
And indeed that's good.
But methinks not less they be understood.
Understood? Why, so shall all be that I make.
Tash, you'll say one thing and another take.
You'll still be wrangling.
Aye, and for a man, would I might live till quarrel I began on such a cause. But pray, now quiet be and fair Musella first begin with me.
But must the riddles be expounded?
No.
Then I'll begin, though scarce the play I know. That I wish, which with most pain I must gain. That I shun, which with such ease cannot please. That most easy still I fly, barred, I fainest would come nigh.
I am the next, mark then what I will say. Best is my lovers cannot me betray. What I seek can never be found in me. Fain I would that try and find, which my mind ever yet my heart kept, till away my luck was stepped.
Let them alone, the women still will speak. Rustic, come you and I this course will break. Late I saw a star to shine, whose light methought was only mine, till a cloud came and did hide that light from me, where light did bide. Yet tell me how can these agree? The light though dimmed, that light I see. Now, Rustic, fortune's falling on your head, bring forth your riddle. Fie, in love and dead to such a sport, think not upon the day. There's no danger in it, I dare well say.
Truly I cannot riddle, I was not taught these tricks of wit. My thoughts now higher wrought than how to mark a beast, or drive a cow to feed, or else with art to hold a plough, which if I knew, you surely soon would find a matter more of worth than these odd things, which never profit but some laughter brings. These uttered be of body and of mind.
Spoke like a husband, though you yet are none. But come, what, is this sport already done?
I cannot riddle.
Whistle, 'tis as good, for you sufficiently are understood.
What mean you?
Naught but that you are an honest man and thrifty, full of care.
I thought you had meant worse.
Oh, meant worse, what I? Fie, this doth show your doubt and jealousy. Why should you take my meaning worse than 'tis?
Nay, I but smile to see how you all miss. But some shall find when I do seem to smile, and show best pleased, oftenest do beguile.
Yourself, you mean, for few else do respect your smiles or frowns, therefore do not neglect your pleasant youth. Ill will is too soon got, and once that rooted, not so soon forgot.
You grow too wise, dispute no more. Here be others who will let us their hearers be, and give this sport some life again, which you almost made dead.
I have done, let joy ensue.
Guess you all what this can be. A snake to suffer fire I see, a fog and yet a clear bright day, a light which better were away. Two suns at once, both shining clear, and without envy hold each dear.
A spring I hoped for, but it died. Then on the next my hopes relied. But summer passed, the latter spring could me but former losses bring. I died with them, yet still I live, while autumn can no comfort give. Unmannerly, I must your presence leave, sent for in haste unto my mother, but I hope in this sweet place soon to receive your most loved companies, and so to put a good rustic into better humours, say, will you be merry?
Exit Musella.
I'll not after stay.
Exit Rustic.
No, follow. Shadows never absent be when sun shines, in which blessing you may see your shadowed self, who nothing in truth are, but the reflection of her too great care. What will you further do?
Let us depart.
Aye, let's away, but some ere long will smart.
When shall we meet again?
When day appears.
No, not till sun, who all foul mists still clears.
Why then at sun, and who shall then mishear a punishment by us ordained shall bear.
Let it be so.
I'm very well agreed.
So are we all, and will appear with speed.
And they exit. the Hobbit must have a competition with us. What have I got in my pockets? It's just, the thing is, if they're going to do these sort of versy riddle things, are you going to actually solve any of them, or are you just going to just? I mean, it's sort of like what is this game? This is like when you go over somebody else's house and they have party games and they all play them except you, and you've no idea what the rules are, and you're just standing there going, "What?" Lynn.
Yeah, well, I was enjoying Dalina again. She's sassy. But yeah, here where in my time zone, it is like way too early in the morning for this nonsense. I am losing the will to live over here. Can we not?
Although I have to say, I did enjoy the line, "Here comes the flock." Here comes the flock. Sorry, Greg.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who's going, where were the answers? Because I literally was sat there going, so when do we solve them? Is this like a little game that, you get the answer sheets in the audience and they have to resolve them as the night goes on or something? Because it's just... But yes, Dalina being party planner extraordinaire in her own joyful way.
I have to say, Dalina is so far the delight of this play. I mean, every scene they have turned up, being just a little bit bossy to try and make sure that everyone has fun. You're going to have fun. I decree everyone will have fun by doing what I say. And they're being slightly ridiculed for it. And I think there's actually something a bit true and unfair and also very fair about the way that all plays out. And I quite like it. Lois.
Yeah, the smart thing to do would be to have all these riddles solved in Act 5, which would keep the audience coming back to find out. Where otherwise there's not a lot of reason. Also, are they terribly rude to Rustic? I mean, he turns up and they promptly say, "There's one too many here, namely you."
Yeah, and Rustic doesn't feel incorporated very well at all. Rustic turns up and then words are said at them and they say words back, and it doesn't feel like they're integrated into anybody else's actions. And you're right, just very, very rude. I mean, it follows on from this scene with Lissius and Musella and Simeana, where again people have a moderately adult conversation and go, "Oh, I feelings have you," and again, it's nice that it's there, and there is sort of this ghost of a structure that we're getting here with sort of scenes echoing each other and actions echoing across the play. But and then I say, here comes the flock, and stuff happens that I don't know why. Other thoughts? Does anyone have any answers to any of the riddles? This is like when we did Oedipus and there was that bonus riddle and we were going, what? I don't know that one. And it's not the famous Oedipus one. Why? What was the answer? I know we're not supposed to know the answer because the man got eaten, but I think it was Phoenix in the end. I think we decided, but in these, I'm not even sure I understand the terms of. It's like when you do a cryptic crossword in a newspaper you don't normally do, and you don't know what the rules of engagement are. That's how this feels to me. Briony.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of having leaving them unanswered until later on to keep people on the edge of their seat. But you were just bombarded with too many riddles. I don't remember what any of them even were. No. Squirrel Nutkin, he knew how to incorporate riddles into a narrative. This is just silly.
More squirrel is required. Lois.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe each of them is talking about their own love experience. I mean, Lissius says about two suns at once, both shining clear and without envy hold each dear. I mean, that could refer to the affection of Musella for Simeana. It could be an optimistic view of how Simeana and Climeana feel about each other. I mean, both of them in love with him, although I don't think, in fact, they are holding each other dear. But it seems to be about the paradoxical nature of love. I mean, he's been miserable and yet he's been happy. And I think Fillis, isn't she talking about how she loved somebody and then she loved somebody else but nothing's worked out. And autumn can no comfort give. I mean, spring and summer were a dead loss. I'm not sure about Philisses. What interests me there actually is the bit about the star, because that's more like Philip Sidney loving Stella. But
the star must be Musella.
Yeah, it would have to be. Yeah.
Well, one hopes so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't see why we have that light, though dimmed, that light I see. Anyway, I think that might be the sort of thing they're talking about.
Okay. Any other thoughts? No. Okay. Well, let's complete the act with returning of our favourite double act. Waldorf and Statler, come on. No, sorry, Act 4, Scene 2. We're not quite sure precisely where we are. We might be at the temple again. We might not be. Enter Venus and Cupid, and there may be some priests about as well.
Now have thy torments long enough endured, and of thy force they are enough assured. Oh, hold thy hand. Alas, I pity now those whose great pride did lately scorn to bow. Thou hast performed thy promise, and thy state now is confessed. Oh, slacken then thy hate. They humble do their hearts and thoughts to thee. Behold them, and accept them, and mild be. Thy conquest is sufficient, save the spoils, and let them only taken be in toils. But set at liberty again to tell, they might, and clemency which doth excel.
Me to save them? But some yet must try more pain, ere they their blessings might come nigh. But in the end most shall be well again, and sweetest is that love obtained with pain.
And the music or song of the priests. Singing priests, take it away.
Love, thy powerful hand withdraw, and do yield unto thy law. Rebels now thy subjects be, bound they are who late were free. Most confess thy power and might, all hearts yield unto thy right. Thoughts directed are by thee, souls do strive thy joys to see. Pity then and mercy give to those hearts where you do live. They your images do prove, in them may you see great love. They your mirrors, you their eyes, by which they true love do spy. Ease a while their cruel smarts, and behold their humble hearts. Greater glory 'tis to save, when that you the conquest have, than with tyranny to press, which still makes the honor less. Gods do princes' hearts direct, then to these have some respect.
And exit.
Hastily followed by brickbats. Yes.
Well, you know, they're just sort of popping in just to mark their presence. And hold thy hand. So just put away the machine gun of love, and let's just let everything resolve. And we have, I think, just checking, there is potentially more to some of the dialogue there. So Cupid, we do have potentially some additional lines on the priests. Now your part comes to play. In this you must something sway. So you shall, and I your child, when you bid, can soon be mild. So there might have been a few additional lines. There are different manuscript versions with slight textual variations. So, but that's a moderately substantial one. But they're crossed out, so it might be that they seemed a good idea at the time, and then they decided to drop them. Lynn.
Yeah, so Cupid says, sweetest is that love obtained with pain. Love is sweetest when you have to work for it, which is proverbial, something that is culturally quite current. It's basically the whole premise of new comedy, is that it's better if you have something to overcome and then achieve what you want. If it's too easy, it somehow doesn't count. I don't know. But that's sort of a truism. That's sort of proverbial. But that didn't seem to be Cupid's take on it in the beginning. It's kind of like he's changed his mind. I feel like that there's a little character continuity problem here, that the Cupid we saw at the beginning of the play just likes causing human suffering, and this Cupid is saying, you know, for the most part, everything is going to work out for people, and this is actually for their own good, because it'll be better in the end if they have to work for it or suffer a little in between time. So it's like, I feel like the author didn't know what she wanted to do and was sort of making it up as she went along. Sorry.
Lois.
I don't know. I mean, Cupid could be saying that in a sort of sanctimonious way. You know, they've all been suffering, but after all, it's better for them anyway. You know.
Yes, welcome to the criminal justice system.
Yes.
Okay, let's go into Act 5 then. Lots of scenes in Act 5. I'll probably align some of them together depending on the length of them and how much time we have. Act 5, Scene 1. Enter Musella and Simeana.
O eyes that day can see and cannot mend, what joy's my poison? Must my wretched end proceed from love? And yet my true love, crossed, neglected for base gain, and all worth lost for riches. And 'tis time for good to die, when wealth must wed us all to misery.
If you will but stoutly tell your mother you hate him and will match with any other, she cannot nor will go about to cross your liking, so to bring your endless loss.
Alas, I've urged her, till that she with tears did vow and grieve she could not mend my state, agreed on by my father's will, which bears sway in her breast, duty in me. Fate must have her courses, while that wretched I wish but so good a fate as now to die.
Wish not such ill, which all we suffer must, but take some hope the gods are not unjust. My mind doth give me yet, you shall be blessed, and seldom do I miss, then quiet rest.
Rest, quiet? Oh heavens! Have you ever known the pains of love, and been by him o'erthrown to give this counsel, and advise your friend to impossibilities? Well, to what end speak you thus madly? Can it e'er be thought that quiet, or least rest, can now be brought to me, while dear Philisses thus is crossed, who missing all my happiness is lost?
You have not missed, nor lost him yet.
Lost, that's enough. Did I my blessings trust in your kind breasts, you fatal sisters? Now by your decree to be bestowed, and bow to base unworthy riches. My heart that breaks not, but can suffer all this smart.
Have patience.
I cannot, nor I will not. Patient be me and bear this ill lot. No, I will grieve in spite of grief, and mourn to make those mad who now to pleasure turn.
Enter Philisses.
My dear Musella, what is it doth grieve your heart thus much? Tell me, and still believe, while you complain, I must tormented be. Your sighs and tears, alas, do bleed in me.
Oh, I know it. 'Tis your loss I thus lament. I must be married. Would my days were spent.
Married?
Rustic.
Yeah.
My mother so commands, who I must yield to, being in her hands.
But will you marry, or show love to me, or her obey, or make me wretched be?
Alas, Philisses, will you this doubt make? Would my life to pleasure you forsake? Hath not my firmness hitherto made known my faith and love, which yet should be more shown if I might govern but my mother's will? Yet this last question even my heart doth kill.
Grieve not, my dearest, I speak but for love, then let not love your trouble so far move. You weep not that it wounds not hapless me, nor sigh but in me all those sorrows be. You never cry, but groans must truly show, from deepest of my heart I feel your woe. Then heap not now more sorrows on my heart, but these dear tears which taste of endless smart. No grief can be which I have not sustained, and must for now despair have conquest gained. Yet Let your love in me still steady rest, and in that I sufficiently am blessed. But must you marry? Oh, those words deny. Oh, here behold your poor Philisses die.
I would I could deny the words I spake. When I did Rustic's marriage offer take, hopeless of you, I gave my ill consent. And we contracted were, which I repent. The time now curse my tongue wish out, which gave me to that clown with whom I wed my grave.
I hear and see my end. O love, unjust and careless of my heart, put in your trust, ungrateful and forgetful of the good from me received, by whom thy fame hath stood, thy honor been maintained, thy name adored, by which all others with disgrace have stored. Is this the great reward I shall receive for all my service? Will you thus deceive my hopes and joys?
Yet let me one thing crave.
Ask my poor life, else all else long since I gave.
That I will ask, and yours requite with mine, for mine cannot be if not joined to thine. Go with me to the temple, and there we will bind our lives, or else our lives make free.
To die for thee a new life I should gain, but to die with thee were eternal pain. So will you promise me that you will live? I willingly will go, and my life give. You may be happy.
Happy without thee? Oh, let me rather wretched and thine be. Without thee life, no life can, nor least joy, nor thought but how a sad end to enjoy. But promise me yourself you will not harm, as you loved me.
Let me impose that charm likewise on you.
Content, I am agreed.
Let's go alone, no company we need.
Simeana, she shall go, and so may tell the good or heavy chance that us befell.
I am content, your will shall be obeyed, till this life change and I in earth am laid.
I fear the worst, but what will you two do? Both die, and me, poor maiden, quite undo?
Die, no, we go forevermore to live. Is to our love a sacrifice to give.
Our tears and sorrows we will offer there, and of our offerings you shall witness bear. The truest and most constant love there shall in your sight end, and yet shall never fall.
Such faithful sacrifices none can touch, which once reporting there could be too much.
I know not what you mean, but I'll along.
Let's haste, for here comes some may do us wrong.
And they exit. Oh, Act 5, there's some drama. Look, drama's happening. Conflict!
I know not what you mean, neither does anyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, with you there, girl. It does sound like they're talking about a suicide pact at the temple.
It is unclear, isn't it? It's very unclear precisely that they're not very explicit.
No, it's a suicide pact, except that each one is also promised not to die.
Yes.
So the other one's so unhappy. So.
I think they're hoping that if they do it at the temple, there will be some sort of divine intervention. I think that's the plan.
They're counting on the Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah. But it's like, are we in love? Oh, they don't love me. Oh, you do love me. And then finally in Act 5, mum's turned up. There are other plans.
There's an awful lot of dying in this play for love, or at least speaking of dying for love. I will die if you don't love me. I'll die if you do love me. Let's die together. Oh, but no dying.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we're in a Chekhov's dying situation here, are we? I'm not feeling that that's actually what it feels like. An empty threat. I don't think anyone's going to pick that die off the mantelpiece and use it at any point soon. Lynn.
Yeah, and a couple of other weird things here. I don't remember. Of course, I might have been just tuned out from earlier in the play. Any hint that Musella had given up on Philisses ever loving her and had become betrothed to Rustic? Did that happen?
I don't recall any major detail on that point. No.
Yeah.
Lois?
Yeah, I seem vaguely to remember Rustic talking about her being his, maybe in his first appearance. I mean, I found that rather confusing. I thought he was just being obnoxious, but maybe he actually had reason for it.
Alan, then Leaky.
Yeah, I think it was a previous promise of an arranged marriage, effectively.
Aliki.
Yeah, I think so too. There's something in Musella's line about her mother saying that her father's will must be respected. So I think the father set this up before he died.
Oh god, that old thing.
Yeah, but it's weird that you have that sort of complication. Why not just have the father?
Well, maybe they didn't have anyone to play him. Just go,
or
it's too on the nose. But it's like a late onset plot. We've had an awful lot of play, of which, in terms of plot, of I don't know if they love me. Oh, they do love me. I don't know if they love me. They do love me. And now this. There's only actually really 5 scenes that you could say are active in that way. And then there's an awful lot of other stuff and repetition of things that we've already had. So, yeah. Okay. We're going to run a few scenes into each other because they're all quite short. Act 5, Scene 2. Enter Lissius, Dalina, and Arcas.
Arcas? Is possible it is today?
It is. Musella can now bear no sway. Rustic shall have her. He's the blessed man, yet cannot get her love. Do what he can.
Oh, I am sorry for Philisses.
Truly, so am I. What than a lost love is more misery?
Enter Rustic.
Lissius, Dalina, Arcas, well met today. I must be married, pray be not away. But see us joined, and after dine with us. Where is Philisses? I hope he'll not miss. This is a jolly day. This my day is.
I will not fail. Must we not fetch the bride?
Yes, Mary, from her mother's where we abide.
Exit Rustic.
How well this business doth become this man. How well he speaks word marriage, and began in as good form his neighbours to invite as if he studied manners. Yet at night I'll undertake much mirth will not appear in fair Musella. Shall show heavy cheer.
This 'tis to look so high and to despise all loves that rose not pleasing in her eyes. Now she that soared aloft all day, I at night, might roost in a poor bush with small delight.
I never knew this in her, but 'tis true she liked not of the love proffered by you. And for refusing that she could not like, no man ought her to blame or her mind dislike. But you have other qualities to move a just dislike. You love cross-baits in love. I was beholding to you when time was, but I enjoy her now.
Oh, come, let that pass. Arcas is known, and I dare lay my life you have been meddling and have caused some strife lately about Musella. Take heed, if it prove so, perchance you'll want your meed.
If it be found, thou shalt no longer live than while thou dost her satisfaction give.
Be not so choleric until you know the truth. I've left that foul error in my youth.
Hardly, I doubt, for I saw you last day sneaking and prying all along this way. 'Twas for no goodness that I'm very sure, for from a child you could not that endure.
They exit Act 5, Scene 3. Enter Climeana and Lacon, and Silvesta is probably lingering somewhere in the background. Oh, it's me. Lacon, how fare you now? Musella must this day be married. Is not love unjust to suffer this distasteful match to be against her choice, and most against poor thee?
Not against me, I never hoped. Then how doth Cupid wrong me, though she marry now? Yet thus is love unjust, to let her wed one who she never sees, but wishes dead. So I, although for her I oft have died, grieve for her loss, not that I was denied, but I was unworthy of her, and she far too worthy for this clown. Oh, she the star of light and beauty, must she, lovely she, be matched to rustic base? Unworthy he.
And Silvesta still lingering in the background listening.
Musella to be forced and made to try her faith to one she hates and still did fly. It should not be, nor shall be. No, no, I will rescue her, for her sake would die. Have you yet seen Musella here today?
No, but I hear she passed by this way with fair Simeana, both by break of morn, with humble minds far from their wonted scorn, to offer their last rites of maiden thought to your chaste mistress Venus, now hath bought their future time. How think you of this change? 'Tis better sure than still alone to range.
It's well you think so, yet methinks you can make a clean shift to live without a man.
And they exit Act 5, Scene 4. Enter Philisses and Musella, and they're making an offering in the Temple of Love.
Why don't we have Musella do this?
Oh yes,
First
Musella. They are speaking in theory and simultaneously, but we'll just go for Musella for all of these joint ones, I think, if we go that way.
Venus and great Cupid, here take our sacrifices clear. Where not rites we only give, but our hearts, wherein you live. Those true relics of firm love on your altar still to move, where none such, none so sincere, to your triumph light did bear. Yours they lived while joy had life, dying, here will end all strife. Truer love or truer hearts never perished by your darts.
Venus, only queen of love, take these passions which I prove, take these tears, this vow I take, which my death shall perfect make. But Musella my heart loved, her loss hath my joy removed. Hers I lived, hers now I die, crowned with fame's eternity. Thus your force shall glory have, but Philisses' loving grave.
Cupid, lord of love and hearts, king of thoughts and loving smarts, take these offerings which I give, and my life which new shall live. Earth too mean for such a truth shall in death have lasting youth. No decay, no strife, no fate shall disturb that during state. Life I offer to true love. Then accept this end. I prove time none such did know, nor shall see so willingly to fall. In Philisses did I live, he departing, life I give. Fame hereafter swelled with pride, never loved, thus lived, thus died.
Now, my Musella, and in death but mine, take this last farewell in which glories shine. Love, but to you, could never be so true, and death than life, I choose 'tis for you. My life in you I had, my joy, my bliss, and now for you and by you my end is. Yet, keep your promise, ever happy be, you may be fortunate and outlive me.
That I believe when I do thee outlive, shame shall, instead of fame, my triumph give. I loved as firmly as thou couldst me love, and can as willingly a death's wound prove. Forget the promise you did make, and since condition made yourself first break, I am released. Your word forgot and broke, my hand shall first conclude that blessed stroke unto thy love and mine. Since it is thus, farewell, poor world, life's living bides in us.
And we can infer that she raises a dagger before her, and in the nick of time, enter Silvesta with a plot device.
Oh, hold your hands! I know your minds, and have brought fitter means to wed you to your grave. Let not those hands be spotted with your blood, but since your destiny is not withstood, drink this sweet potion, then take leave and die. Embracing those you dead shall buried lie.
Friendship, what greater blessing than thou art, can once descend into a mortal heart? Silvesta, friend and priest doth now appear, and as our loves, let this thy deed shine clear.
Never more fit did friendship meet with need. Blessed be thy days, most blessed be this indeed.
They drink the potion and they fall.
What? Have you killed them? For this you must die.
And dying for them, I die happily. Oh, who would outlive them? Who would die fly that there beheld love and love's tragedy? Oh, but first upon love's altar let them lay, for there to abide till their new marriage day. Oh, then lead me to those whose life it must take. But ere I die, some joyful heart shall ache.
And the play ends. No, sorry. There is more to go. But it's like nothing happened for 4 acts, and it's like, let's cram everything into Act 5. It's like, it's suddenly got, suicide daggers, and then someone turns up with a potion, and everyone's dead, and it's just like, we're gonna have to kill you, and I don't care. You can kill me because I die, it's really gone. After a series of relatively short scenes of everyone going, Rustic going, oh, I'm getting married, and everyone going, this is a terrible wedding, this is gonna be awful, and where are the unhappy not couple? Oh, they're off at the temple. Oh, they're at the temple. And I quite like the flow of these scenes. I'm liking Act 5. Act 5 suddenly just woken up. It's really it's gone for it. Thoughts in the room. Everyone's just shaking their heads. Aliki.
Why is Silvesta so invested in this? I missed the first half of the play.
Silvesta has gone on great lengths about their feelings, which has not been actuated in anybody else's context. It's almost all been interior monologue and stuff. Lois was Silvesta yesterday, weren't you?
Yeah. Silvesta has vowed chastity and become a follower of Diana because at one time she loved Philisses, who told her with a remarkable frankness, completely unlike anything else he's said in the play, that he didn't love her and that he loved Musella. And instead of trying to find somebody else as an object for her affections, she immediately vowed chastity, and she lives in the forest. But and she finds total happiness in this, but she also wants to help others. And in fact, she is the one who really got Musella and Philisses together, because she told Musella that she discovered that Musella loved Philisses, and so she told her to go and hear Philisses complaining at the point where he is at the beginning of the bit we read, so that when she overhears him, she can declare her love. So she is actually the kind of agent in that. And now that she sees they're about to commit suicide, she also wants to help. Well, help may seem like the wrong word here, but we shall see.
Well, we've had a double homicide. It always improves the flavour of the room. I think we're always.
We've seen some really magic potions in early modern plays. I can see where this might work out all right. So Silvesta is a pun. She's both of the woods and a vestal. Cool.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Okay, let's go into the latter stages of the play then. Act 5, Scene 5. All of these scene designations are interpretive, so different editions may vary. Enter Rustic with shepherds. There's Lissius, Lacon, and Shepherdesses. Dalina, Climeana, and Fillis may be there. There may be additional directions in this version saying they enter later. They're ready to fetch the bride.
Now is the time approached. What think you now? It's not a trim day. What cloud shows a brow? All at my fortune cheer, all smile with joy. Sheep, goats, and cattle's glad that I enjoy.
I never loved him. Now I hate him. Fie, to think Musella by this beast must fly.
Come, let's along and quickly fetch the bride. Methinks I long to have her by my side.
And they stumble, seeing.
How now? What stumble? 'Tis not fatalist.
Good luck that you to him the ground have missed.
A far worse sign than this it doth foretell. But yet have courage, all things may prove well.
Nay, pray resolve me. I begin to fear.
To fear? Fie, man, can trips make hope forbear? On, have mettle. Will you now wax faint? You who to us a happy life must paint.
This is not all. This morn a cow did low, and that ill luck foretells, I truly know.
Had she not lost her calf?
A calf? Why, no. She had a dainty one, as I will show. At my return, and they together came, and while she lowed, the youngling sucked her dam.
And so might hurt her, whereat she did cry, and for your help did low so bitterly.
Well, come what may, we now may not go back.
Very well, for her consent you lack.
Come then away, the precious time doth waste.
Hear first my news, for it may stay your haste. Your bride, a bridegroom new, with joy hath gained, and both for wedding bed a tomb obtained. Here is the priest that married them to death, and I the witness of their passing breath.
Now, is she married and thus cozened me, and dead and buried? How can this all be?
Fetch forth her mother, and then you shall know the cause and actor of this cruel blow.
Exit Rustic.
Oh, heaven, was she too rare a prize for earth, or were we only happy in her birth?
Only made rich, enjoying of her sight. She gone, except we nothing but sad night.
What glory day did give us was to show the virtue in her beauty seemed to grow.
Sweet love and friendship in her shined bright, now dimmed are both, since darkened is her light.
No worth did live which in her had not spring, and she thus gone her grave worth doth bring.
Enter Rustic again with Musella's mother.
I liked her well, but she ne'er cared for me. Yet am I sorry we thus parted be.
Now hear of me the mournfullest end of love, that heart for heart could find, and heartless prove. Philisses and Musella had loved long, and long unknown, which bred their only wrong. At last discovered to their greatest joy, this match came cross their dear hopes to destroy. For she, alas, despairing of her bliss, agreed to marry Rustic, and to miss no cross nor froward hap, which sure with him she must encounter if in this stream swim. When this was done, they knew each other's heart, and by it knew the thread which led to smart, and yet a while rejoiced in their love. But too soon there followed this remove. Her mother, hasty to conclude her will, appointed this sad day should that fulfill, which hath indeed fulfilled a greater harm than spite itself could purchase with her charm. Musella, finding that her given consent proved thus her hell, her soul did then lament, yet could not gain release, but that she must look as her mother liked. Oh, force unjust! Yet so it was that this procured her end, her mother grown her foe, and death her friend. Her friend she chose, Philisses, who did love as much as she, and she as much did prove of love and pain as he who felt all smart, vowed, since they might not join, but rather part, yet as most unfeigned lovers would, lovingly die, and so firm lovers should. Unto the temple then they took their way, together wept, together did they pray, together offered. Now, Silvesta, you must tell the hapless end which did ensue.
And so I will, their loves they gave and lives, which should have finished keen by two sharp knives, provided closely those two to have killed, who have the world with love and wonder filled. But I came in and hindered that sharp blow, though not their wills more honour I did owe to that in love alone. Unhappy pair, and brought their ends more quiet and more fair. A drink I gave them, made their souls to meet, which in their clayey cages could not. Sweet was their farewell, while sorrow then used art to flatter joy, till they no more should part. Their bodies, likewise joined by us, are placed upon love's altar, nor from thence displaced by vow must be, till all you lovers lay this love-killed couple in their biding clay. This have I done, and here I am to die, if so you please, and take it willingly.
Nay, if she loved another, farewell she. I'm glad she by her death hath made me free.
Is this your care? Oh, clownish part! Can you for shame not sorrow when our hearts do rue?
I'm free, I care not.
Like is she then now?
She is for me, and here I disavow all promises which have between us passed, or have been made by her at first or last to me, and thus I do release her. Now may I seek one and please myself in love, are none but such whose heart my love shall move.
Exit Rustic.
She's happy yet in death that she is free from such a worthless creature. Can this be? Such virtue should in her fair breast abound, yet to be tied to where no worth could be found.
Thus have your years your happiness outworn, and brought untimely death to your firstborn. Can you endure this change, and hear us say your forced marriage brought her funeral day?
If the true grief I feel could be expressed by words or sighs, I should myself detest. Sorrow in heart and soul doth only bide, and in them shall my woe be justly tried. Yet justice do I crave of this vile pair, which were the founders of my endless care. Arcas first plotted it with skillful art to ruin me, and living eat my heart. He told me that Musella wantonly did seek Philisses' love. Alas! Only the speech of that did inly wound me so, as stay I could not, nor the time let go, but sent for her and forced her to consent to finish that which makes us all lament, and me to die, oh me, with grief and shame, that thus deservedly I bear this plague. Silvesta, who their lives brought to an end, must also suffer. Death alone, my friend, shall me release. These things I hope you'll do, which, done with age and grief, I'll suffer too.
These must and shall be done, and rites performed to their dear bodies and their sprites. Now to the temple, and their bodies view, then give these judgment, bidding joy adieu.
And they exit, and that's the end of the play. No, there's still more to go. They've done some shaming, public shaming, and but Rustic's happy. I'm free. I care not.
Yeah.
I mean, read the room, man. Wow, I'm sort of now with people being a bit rude to him earlier, because you know. But it's again, it's this sort of nominative determinism thing going on. Oh, clownish part. It's like it's just saying who these people are by their names. Yeah. So yeah, we get told at great length something that we already know, so that to make a mother feel really bad. Fun times. Any thoughts in the room before we go into the final scenes, Lynn?
Yeah, it just doesn't seem necessary to make the Rustic so unlikable. I mean, he could have said, "Oh, I'm so remorseful that I tried to force this woman into a marriage that I knew she didn't want. That was very wrong of me, and I will mourn now, and I will grieve, and I will I'll do better." And it wouldn't have been that hard to make him say that. And then, no spoilers, but I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
That's spoiler. I don't know what you're talking about. Lois.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, I think probably for the plot, it's quite important that he renounces all claims to her.
Mm.
But he could do that and not be a terrible person, you
Mm.
know.
I don't know. I think it's better if he is a terrible person and we no regrets at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see how it all ends. Act 5, Scene 6. In our account, enter Forrester. Haven't seen Forrester for a while. We were wondering whether Forrester should have a name or not because of their importance. But actually, after their initial seeming importance, they disappeared for about 90% of the play. So enter Forrester alone.
Under a hedge all dead to rest I laid, my body by despair wholly decayed, when sleep no sooner did my eyelids close, but half distracted with a dream I rose. Methought I saw Silvester's fair hands tied fast to a stake, where fire burned in all pride, to kiss with heat those most unmatched limbs, where virtue with a shape like habit trims herself with her, while she, alas, fair she, should to those flames a sacred offering be. This dream persuaded me to seek her out and save her, or to free me from the doubt, and there I see her to the temple go, laughter and my life at her feet throw.
Exit Forrester. Act 5, Scene 7. We're at the temple. The dead bodies of Musella and Philisses are on the altar. Enter the shepherds and shepherdesses, casting flowers on them. Venus, who appears in glory. Glory again, so demonstrates some glory, Venus. There's Cupid and priests, and all the various other potential characters are sort of bobbing about somewhere as well, probably. Shepherds and shepherdesses start off singing. Sorrow, now conclude thy hate, more cannot be done by fate. Grief, abandon thy cursed skill, love have now found means to kill. Lovers here example take, faith in love should never shake. Only death hath force to part, lover's body by his dart. But their spirits higher fly, death can never make them die. But their souls with pure love's fire will to heavenly bliss aspire.
Now must we judge the offenders for this deed, and each one punish. Thus it is decreed. Silvesta, greatest in the fault, must bend her spirit first unto her own sought end. With flames of fire, as she with flames of zeal did act this, she must now her last day seal. Death she procured, and for death life shall give.
'Tis justice, thus by death anew I live. My name by this will win eternity, for no true heart will let my merit die.
Re-enter Forrester.
I must enjoy my death ere this be done. Bright Venus, I beseech thee and thy son to look on me, your true though luckless slave, and view the heart my faith to firm love gave. Save sweet Silvester, whose youth frames this deed. Let not her virtues as offences speed. Though by law she have deserved this doom, let me for her obtain her appointed tomb. I am more fit to die and suffer far. Life with sorrows are at endless war. Besides, the law allows, if one will die for t'other's fault, his death may their life buy. Let me first beg it, pay it then with life. Death for her sake shall please and end the strife.
Poor Forrester, thy love deserveth more, for in thy heart true firmness lived in store. But since you will her life with your life buy, you must enjoy death, we can none deny. That this do claim it, she's by you made free, and you for her must now my offering be.
Goddess of hearts, you thus have done me right. Now shall my faith to honour you shine bright.
Thanks is your due for saving me from death. Did I not rather hate than love this breath? Yet shall this bounty gain in my chaste heart. To your deserts a kind and thankful part.
Death, happy death, since she for whom I die doth pity me and weighs my constancy. Could I live ages, 'twould not be so good as now to die with thanks given for my blood. Then farewell world, death, welcome as new life. Silvesta thanks me and gives me this wife.
You sacred priests perform the latest due to their dead bodies, and my joys adieu.
Rustic, before us here, disclaim the right in life was tied to you, now to her sprite.
I love no sprites, nor those affect not me. She loved Philisses, therefore she is free. Were she alive, she were her own to choose. Thus here, to her, all claim I do refuse.
Philisses, of us take Musella fair. We join your hands. Rise and abandon care. Venus hath caused this wonder for her glory and the triumph of love's victory.
And with the pronouncement of the title of the play, Philisses and Musella are magically arise from the altar.
Loves, be not amazed, this is my deed. Who could not suffer your dear hearts to come forth and joy? Your faith hath been thus tried. Who truly would for love's sake have died? Silvesta was my instrument ordained to kill and save her friends, by which she hath gained immortal fame and bands of firmest love. In their kind breasts where true affections move, then all rejoice with a loving song, conclude the joy hath been kept down too long.
Joy now as great as was my former woe shuts up my speech from speaking what I owe to all but mine. For mine I joy you are, and love and bliss maintain you from all care. Pardon my fault. Enjoy and blessed be, and children and their children's children see. Pardon me first, who have your sorrow wrought, then take our thanks, whose good your care hath brought. Silvesta, next to you our lives are bound, for in you only was true friendship found.
Mother, for so your gift shall make me you call, receive my humble thanks, whichever shall with faithful love and duty you attend, till death our lives bring to a final end. And chaste Silvesta, take my life when I ungrateful prove to be your worth-binding tie.
Venus the praise must have, whose love to you made her descend on earth, and your cares view. She said the drink hath wedded you to joy, and in joy live, and happiness enjoy. Oh, chaste love relieved you in chaste love shots there. Chaste love relieved you in chaste love still live. And each to you, each to other, true affections give. For you, kind forester, my chaste love take, and know I grieve now for your sake.
Exit Silvesta.
My joys increase, she grieves now for my pain. Ah, happy proffered life, which this can gain. Now shall I go contented to my grave, though no more happiness I ever have.
Now let me ask my joy. Philisses, you may make me die or live. Your sister for my wife I seek. Alone I crave but her, and love makes her mine own. Two bodies we are, yet have but one heart. Then rather join than let such dear love part.
Myself from bliss I sooner would divide than cross your loves. Then henceforth thus abide, joined in firm love and happiness, attend your days on earth until your lives do end.
Rustic, what think you? Is this called fair play?
When Venus wills, men cannot but obey. Yet this I'll swear, I'm plainly cozened here. But 'tis all one, the bargain may prove dear.
Yet you have not lost all. This wreath you see is proved your garland. This fair willow tree you now must reverence and bravely wear.
I'd sooner die than such disgrace to bear. Nay, sooner marry, and that now I deem far worse than death, though slighter in esteem.
I would I might but name the happy maid should be your wife.
Yourself name, and all said.
Will you have me then?
Rather than my life.
In troth agreed, I'll prove a loving wife.
Is all I seek. Now God give you all joy, and blessed am I who this sweet lass enjoy.
Good exchange, and everyone agreed.
And as we love and like, so let us speed.
Now sing a song, both priests and all, for joy, and cursed be they your blessed states annoy.
And here there's supposed to be a song, but actually there is a gap in the manuscript, and the next bit by Cupid might be dialogue, or it might actually be sing-songiness.
Now my wars in love have ended, each one here enjoys their friend, and so all shall henceforth say, who my laws will still obey. Mother, now judge Arcas' fault, all things else your will hath wrought.
Arcas, think not your villainies forgot, but since each now enjoys the better lot, doth fall to you, you here must still abide in these fair plains, where you shall never hide the shame and falsehood printed in your face, nor hence remove, but in the self-same place you did commit that error foul and ill. There your days left with grief and shame shall fill your gnawing conscience. This shall be your doom.
O sacred goddess, let my heart's suit come before your eyes. Rather, oh, let me die, than here remain with shame and infamy. This dying life, alas, than death is worse, nor can you lay on me a greater curse.
Your doom is given, it may not be recalled, but with your treachery you must be thralled. And now all duties are performed to love. Look that no more our powers by scorn you move, but be the treasures of love's lasting glory, and I, your princess, crowned with victory.
Thus still is sin rewarded with all shame, and so let all be that deserve like blame. I have offended in the basest kind, and more ill do deserve than ill can find. My traitor was to love, and to my love those who shall thus offend, like me, shame prove.
And exeunt. So the play ends on a reminder of a sort of subplot thing that wasn't very well articulated earlier in the play about Arcas basically shitposting to create conflict, but which is so undeveloped, and I can't even remember who the hell it is. It's this sort of odd note at the end of the play after everyone's sort of been paired off in interesting ways. Rustic and Dalina, I think they're perfect together. I think that's an excellent matching. And things, but you sort of like Cupid just going, "Hey, shall we go attack this guy?" We've got songs. We've got a forester being really weird. Thoughts about the close of this play? I'll go to Lynn, then Greg.
Yeah, like so much just like isn't really working for me. Like, I mean, I kind of like that Dalina and Rustic end up together because they're both these kind of, I don't. They do seem to sort of resonate. If Rustic hadn't turned out to be such a jerk, like, oh wow, I'm bummed. I didn't want her to die. I didn't really like her that much anyway. Oh, she's alive. Cool. I'm done. It's like, sorry for the misunderstanding. And Dalina's like, you're free? He's like, oh, I'm free. It could have been really cute, and it wasn't. And that sort of that vision that the forester has of Selena being burned at the stake, that's just like so gross. But then he comes and shows up and says, my life for yours. She's like, oh, Tom. Like, oh, cheers for that. Like, and then it ends on this down note of Arcas, who's the gossip and the liar, gets punished, rather than on an up note of the couples getting together. There's just so much that could work and doesn't.
I mean, there is a thing about pastoral is that they are steeped with violence. Actually, underneath the stuff, almost all the texts have some vibe like that running through them. Sometimes very explicit violence, and sometimes less so. This has, on the whole, been actually quite until Act 5. It was all just lots of people wandering around going, "Oh, I'm sad," and then suddenly it sort of upped the ante in quite dramatic ways. Greg.
What I'm going to say is those answers to those riddles were really fascinating.
So glad we got that.
I'm sorry, I know it's not the most pressing plot point, but
No, it's a good point. It's a good point. Went nowhere.
The party planner didn't then say, "Come on then, guys, what were your answers?"
Maybe that's missing on the final. There's a final page missing, and the answer to riddle number 4 was Lois.
Yeah. I mean, I think for the ideal production, well, A, one might move that whole bit with Arcas earlier so that we could end on a higher note, and B, possibly the audience could either be given prizes for guessing these riddles, or answers to the riddles could be given out, or something like that. I mean, it seems to me...
and we can draw the tombola at the same time. I mean, it's
Sure.
that's the thing.
Yeah. The other thing I wondered about was, I mean, Silvesta's behavior seems very different if one assumes that she's doing everything that Venus told her to do. I mean, that would mean you'd have to play the whole earlier bit quite differently, I think, if she knows that that they're going to live and that Venus is behind them. It's also very odd, given that she's vowed herself to Diana and completely renounced love and everything Venus stands for, that she should end up in Venus's service.
There is a definite inconsistency in what these characters do throughout the course of the play. Briony.
Yeah, to agree. Like, Venus has really let me down this session. She's been so bloodthirsty all the way through this, and then she just randomly says, "Well, they've suffered enough," when actually I disagree. Had anything happened much? I don't know. And then after that, some people die. Now they've probably suffered enough. I don't know. And then I'll bring them back to life. What? I don't know.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Venus says they've suffered enough before anyone does actually any suffering, which is literally what happens immediately afterwards. I mean, it's slightly misplaced. Lynn.
I actually kind of like the fact that Silvesta is the agent and working everything out, even though she has vowed herself. She's basically a nun. I think a better play would have made that a statement about there is a place in the world for both, that chastity and purity and devoting yourself to that life has a place, and love and marriage and reproduction have a place, and they are not opposed. They work together. I think that could be what that plot device says, but it's just it's not a good enough play to make that.
Yes. Okay, we're into final thoughts, and we can even start talking about other elements of this as well. So, Greg, any final thoughts about the play overall? You've been here for both sessions. What does one do with this?
I think I got one of the better. I think what's the fact, Dalina or whatever her name was probably quite a plum part in the end. Too many loose ends, and I got so confused, and there's just too many times where it's like meh.
I mean, is it because we're not seeing characters? Because I think a lot of the peripheral characters have more impact if they're visually on stage, because they are about a lot. But also that we've got music going on here and spectacle. Is it just simply that it's not working for this room? Just because this is a very bland setup? Sorry, Greg.
It may perform better. I don't know. Well, we were attempting a little bit of performance, but it might work better if you sort of got it on your feet, but nah.
Lynn, any final thoughts?
Yeah, well, my criticisms of the play are all kind of from a dramaturgical or technical standpoint. The shape of it is really weird, and it's not what we would be expecting. So little happens in the first 4 acts, and then the last act is plotty, 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 plot, plot, plot. Like that, our expectations are as an audience is that those complications are kind of more evenly spread out over the course of the narrative. So it's just got a really weird shape. So I think that even on its feet, that would feel weird and unsatisfying. And the other technical thing that I would fault is I don't think the verse is very good. There's so much forcing of the syntax to get the rhymes to happen, and these weird enjambments that don't feel natural. That it's very clunky, and the meaning is hard to parse because the syntax is so oddly ordered. And it's just not very pretty, and the imagery isn't really very effective. It's just not very good poetry, I don't think. And really good poetry can actually like wallpaper over a lot of problems, and this play doesn't have.
Briony, any have I gone to you already? No, I haven't. Yes, Briony, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I try not to make the final thoughts too negative, but there really wasn't a lot in this that I liked, that I wanted to keep. I don't know, because of the way the plot meandered and the fact that they were just all whining about being in love with people. I didn't really differentiate much between who was who and stuff. A lot of the time, agree with what's been said about like it wasn't even like it was that lovely to read. Yeah, I don't have many positives on this one. And I liked the darkness that Venus and Cupid were bringing to it, but then they just undid it all at the end. So yeah.
Alan, any final thoughts?
It will be an interesting exercise to compare this with the texts that have been performed in recent times to see just how much of what we've got here has actually survived into versions which I believe have worked quite well on stage. But it looks to me like it needs so much work doing to it. You're almost starting with a tabula rasa.
It is interesting because I've been following on with the Revels edition as well as others. I'm surrounded by bits and pieces, which has lots of extensive footnotes on various interpretations of how certain scenes function. And there seems to be an awful lot of business and things happening during scenes where as text it's quite impenetrable to give it something. And whether that's genuinely coming from the text or whether that's something that the actors and directors are interpolating to give it more life, it's difficult to know because that's just an account of texts, of performances. There is coming up, in fact by the time this video goes out probably will exist, a video recording of a production with music and things, so you'll hopefully, those who are watching this and maybe have been disappointed will be able to go and watch that, and we have other witnesses to the other performances that have happened, performances in 1999, 2018, and to say this year 2022. It is still 2022, isn't it? Probably by the time this goes out it'll be 2023, or later, who knows. Aliki, any final thoughts? You're muted at present.
I see that you could have fun with it and add a lot of business and all of the music and some dancing and some more jokes, but I couldn't help but notice that the instinct of the room was to send it up at all times, and I suspect that's because we didn't like it very much. And I'm not sure that it would be, as Alan said, that it would be worth all that effort.
Yes, well, as I say, we don't ask that question. It doesn't matter. If someone finds that they wish to, that is fine, and we can go for that. Lois, I think you've actually seen this in performance.
Yes, I have.
So, final thoughts. You are unleashed.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, the thing is, I think I'd even read it before I saw it. I thought it was dire, but when I saw it, it wasn't. It really was quite good. I think they must have cut some of the early bits. I mean, it seems to me that Act 5 is actually quite effective. I think myself, I don't remember anything about Venus and Cupid, and I'm wondering whether they cut them and then they gave more agency to Silvesta so that the potion was, the inevitable sleeping potion instead of the poison potion. But I could be wrong about that. I mean, it seems to me this was a different production from any of the three you've mentioned, because I think I saw it in about 2013 or 14, but I'm not sure. Just trying to remember. I mean, I know it. I saw it at either Penshurst or Knoll, I think. I mean, some of the scenes between the young men were really quite good on the level of sort of banter between friends. And a lot of it just seemed to come across, in a way that it certainly doesn't with us. But I'm sure they must have cut some of this love, I mean, maybe even a subplot out of it. And I can't remember what they did with Arcas. It seems to me if his maneuvering is going to mean anything, you've got to have more sense of him from the beginning.
Yes, it's an odd part because it really doesn't say very much at all. In fact, his actions are sort of inferred and referred to by others rather than anything you actually dramatically see. I say from the notes in the Revels edition, which is very thorough, does make that a lot was made of that final closing moment to really sort of destabilize the sense of the play, of the event, as it were, to end on a slightly jarring note. Lois, again.
Yeah, well, does the Revels edition say what happened about those riddles? I wondered, because I have a feeling they may just have been cut in the production I saw.
I don't recall seeing anything as I was flicking through as we went, but there. I'll have to find where it happened. That's a song. Riddles. Where were the riddles?
Act 4, I think.
Yeah, but Act 4 is very long. That's why I'm flicking.
Yeah.
I found them. There we are. Not seeing that there was necessarily a performative choice mentioned here. Various long footnotes about some elements of them, but nothing seems to be performance related in that bit. I haven't gone through it thoroughly.
Yeah. Yes, I must get hold of that Revels edition. They usually are very good, and I haven't seen that one.
Yes, it's very thorough and does tidy up from other editions where there are some actual overt errors and transpositions and things, because it is from two manuscripts that the texts come to us that are mostly the same, but there are differences and different pieces of information. And say one of the manuscripts does look more like it's something that is designed for performance, whereas the other one may be more. I think it's more memorial of or more just a text that's been played around with. So it's a complicated text, which of course gives us options and interesting questions about what one might do with it. As it happens, many people have already done it, and hopefully by the time this video goes out, you can go and watch it, and the links will be in the show description, and you can go and make your own opinion based on people who have spent time and effort making this hopefully sing, both literally and figuratively, and that's always one of those questions that we have to ask. What is the best we can find out of a text? What can be done with it? We don't ask the question, should one? The question is always, what does one do? And even the most uninspiring text can sometimes work in surprising ways in performance. Basically, the rule of thumb is you never know. So I think I've gone round the room once. All that remains is to thank all the wonderful readers for their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye. I know not what you mean.